Michele Moore, Vice President and Chief Communications Officer at the Ford Foundation, talks to host Doug Simon on PR's Top Pros Talk.
The Ford Foundation's been such a strong part of the US system, if you will. But I just want to make sure everyone really has a full understanding of the mission and the work that you do. Could we start there, Michele?
Doug, it's great to be here. Thank you. The Ford Foundation is a nonprofit philanthropy. Our mission is really about trying to address the issues of inequality around the world. And so we fund nonprofits who work on a variety of issues from climate change to disability justice, to workforce development, gender equity, social justice, and a variety of issues. And so our job, and we have the pleasure and actually privileged to try to support ideas and leaders and those nonprofits that are bringing solutions to those issues.
Yeah. And what are some of the ways that your PR team is really working to promote those positive impacts on the world?
Well, unlike a consumer brand, our job is really to elevate the stories of our grantees, those nonprofits that we support, and to really work collaboratively to ensure that we're looking at audiences that we're trying to reach that are going to be important to them. So that might be other funders, that might be policymakers, that may be corporate partners who can partner with them over time. And so we're paying a lot of attention in both earned media and owned media to lift that storytelling, but also to ensure that we're using analytics and audience typologies to reach those audiences where they are, with the messages that are going to resonate with them most, and hopefully that they will respond to our message. And so for us, it's kind of a turnkey process. We're looking at those issues, elevating those grantees, and then measuring whether or not we've been affected through data and analytics.
Yeah. And ideally, would you then be continuing with similar grantees, or is it really about rotating?
You know, we serve about 1,900 grantees, so we have plenty of stories to work with, and we
Wow.
rotate them. And I think it's really also looking at the ecosystem and what are external issues that are really important right now and resonate with different audiences. And so, we also try to tie those to different anniversaries. So we know if major events like COP28, which is a major climate change conference, so we're going to elevate our climate grantees. If we're looking at Pride Month in June, we're going to elevate gender equality and some of the work that we do with LGBT communities. And so we try to align both the work, but also we have ongoing issues, workforce development, economic opportunity, mission-related investments, how we use our capital to invest in positive things like affordable housing, are things that are ongoing issues that we can promote throughout the year and elevate those grantees. So we are lucky to have a variety of great leaders and organizations that we support that we can work with and collaborate with to try to bring attention to.
And obviously, you need a great team to be able to do that. And what should managers be focusing on when they're building a team? And I'm sure we'll be listening because we're actually hiring someone to support Lindsay soon. So if you've got any good suggestions about what managers should focus on when they're building a team.
Well, I think, it depends on whether or not you're in a place where you're building a new team or you're transforming an existing team. So I think there are three elements that are always really important to really be clear about what you're building for. What are the functions and skills that you need to take the operation to the place you want it to go to achieve your goals? And then you're trying to match and assess talent and understand the skills that you need and the people that you need. And you're really building for function and ensuring that you have the right people in the right place doing the right job. And sometimes people can have great resumes, but they may not be the right fit for what you need and what you're building for. And then you really want to have diversity. You want to have diversity in terms of both racial diversity, but more importantly, you want to have style diversity. You want to have people who may communicate, who are thinking big picture, and you want people who are very detailed oriented, and you want that team to really work collaboratively together. And I think after that, in terms of building high performance teams, everybody has to be in the same rowboat. You have to set a clear direction and vision about what you think success looks like as a leader, and be incredibly clear about investing in people's skills over time and what are you building towards, and making sure that everyone's aligned on where we're going at the same time, at the same rate, at the same pace, and that we have the skills and ability to get there. So that clarity of both function and direction is really important for leadership. And that's where you're going to keep a team on task. And sometimes there are going to be challenges. There may be individuals that need to transition from the organization. It doesn't make them bad people. It just makes them maybe not the right fit for the team you're trying to build. And then you want to also give opportunities to people and build to expand their careers over time. So you want to look at both of those things in terms of getting feedback and also building teams for the long term, both the short and the long term. It's really important.
One of the words you like to speak about is accountability. And people think of that in terms of, oh, they messed up, so they need to be accountable for it. But it can actually be different. It really can be about building towards improvement and always trying to be better. How can managers make sure they are holding their team members accountable?
We do a team priority so everybody knows on the team what are the priorities that week. People can ask for help. If we have a new announcement, if there's a storytelling, if there's an issue that we anticipate that may turn into a crisis, is everybody on the same page at the beginning of the week? Do they need help? Do they have the resources they need? And then through check-ins and other ways, individual manager check-ins, we're asking people, do you need what you have for the support? Are there ways in which we need to give you immediate feedback? I also think, though, it's really important to provide a clarity on terms of your values, in terms of respect and candor and honesty and having an open forum feedback. That's incredibly important because people will trust when you say that you're invested in their career, both the short term and the long term. And people will trust that at the end of the day, we're in this together. And sometimes when things don't go well, that's okay. But let's talk about how we fix it and what do we learn from it. And so the accountability piece is both on the manager, but it's also on the employee. And the manager has to be accountable to their people in terms of their obligations around transparency, the rationale that they provide, and feedback that they provide for what we're doing so that they can keep everybody on track. So it goes both ways.
That also can lead to a sense of belonging if everyone is sort of a part of that same mission and understand is recognized for the key roles they play, because it does take a team.
Belonging is really about culture, team culture. How are you kind of embodying your values? And some of the values that we have, and I talked with our team about, and when we kind of collectively developed together, what are our team agreements? That we will be respectful even when we don't agree, that we are always going to be civil with one another because we're in the social justice business. The people are very passionate about certain issues and concerns, and they may have different points of view. Are we going to have what we call charitable assumption? I'm assuming that you're coming to the day with the best of intention, with the best of effort. And I'm not going to be judgmental about what I think may be going on personally, but what I want to do is make sure that we're all aligned in our best of intention to pursue excellence. And so those are values that we try to really build around our team culture. And when you're doing that, that sense of belonging means that we're talking about how do we celebrate wins? There's a tendency, and particularly in public relations, to what have you done for me lately? That's the business that we're kind of in. So how do we celebrate wins and really take time to reflect and really understand that we have measurable objectives that we're going to celebrate, that we're also, I think it's really important as a manager to be invested in that person's career when they're with you and beyond when they leave you. And so that means I sit down with each person a couple of times a year, say, okay, what's your 3 to 5 year goal? Whether you stay at the Ford Foundation or not. Do you want to be, a senior manager, a director, a VP? How can I help you get there eventually? That opportunity may come at the Ford Foundation, may not, but what are the skills that you need to build to be a great leader? So even with managers who may be at the mid-level, I want to know that they understand budgeting, that they understand how to develop contracts, to pick good vendors. How do they, develop teams themselves? How can they manage projects? I want them to have those great skills. And those skills over time are going to give them both opportunities within the organization and have an investment in their professional career development, even beyond that organization. What makes me most happy is when someone may leave the organization because they have a great opportunity to elevate their own professional development and that they become VPs and directors. And I'm a proud mom. I that makes me happier than anybody else. And that we are able to add new people to the team who will be able to grow and develop the skills over time. So belonging is really about trust and really developing that idea that you're a team together, but that you're growing together as professionals, and then having fun. Sometimes, as one of my coordinators told me, and I'll never forget it, she says it's PR, not ER. You also can't take yourself so seriously that everything is going to be the end of the day if we don't reach our goal, but that we're working together collaboratively, that we have fun, that we spend some time together socially and appreciate one another and understand each other's work styles. And that in combination, we also do, at least within my operation, I do an annual anonymous survey with my team, an internal survey. We ask about how's your workload? How are you feeling about time off? Do you feel that you've been given your assignments and there's clarity? Is there the collaboration that you would want to get your job done? And so we're checking team temperature a lot. I talk with my managers about how's the team doing? How are people feeling? What's going on? Because when you know a team well and you can see things are out of sync, it's usually a collaboration issue. There may be some personal issues that are going on. So you want to make sure that people have the space to deal with those issues. And then how do we come together as a team to ensure that everybody can bring their best selves to the operation and to the work? At the end of the day, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to do a bad job at work. I fundamentally don't believe that. So when things are going off the rails, how do we bring people back to center, and do we find ways to support them? And that's incredibly important, I think, for a manager and a leader to have a high-performing team and to give people a sense of belonging, that you care about them, you care about their lives, and that you want them to be successful.
I wanted to get your insight because it's wonderful that you talked to the team about their goals long term. Not everyone is sure. Do you have any short tips or bullet points when someone's like, sort of they're in the moment and they may be doing okay, but they're not really sure the direction they want to go in?
Two things I really ask people. What is it when you're doing it, you're loving what you're doing? So is it like you want a lot of autonomy? What is it that really makes you feel good while you're doing it? Recognize it, stop, and then figure out what are those skills and what are those attributes of that particular task that you really enjoy. And ensure that the next opportunity that you may have includes those things. And then what are those things that really, where is your curiosity in terms of what you think you want to learn and understand? Some people like to be autonomous and work alone and finish a project. You may be a person who likes to go from projects to projects and you like variety. There's some people who like to really do fundamentally the same things and be really excellent at the same things. So understanding that about yourself is really going to determine whether or not you want to be a generalist or whether or not you want to be a specialist. And that really allows people to hone in how they want their professional lives to develop and always be open to surprise. Always open and ready and prepared for another opportunity and an opportunity within the group. Volunteer, be a self-initiator and volunteer for things, even if you're not sure you can accomplish them. Volunteer so that you can learn.
You've really been open and ready to share some great insights with us. Thanks so much for your time.
Well, Doug, thank you for the opportunity. And I know we're all working hard together to get great things done. So thank you for the opportunity to talk today.
My pleasure.
Take care.